Okay, even though there's 4 Final Destination movies, I'm only going to review the 2 that were actually any decent. If you want to see my review of the 4th one, it's on here. I'm not going to review the 3rd one because, if you've seen 1 and 2, 3 is essentially the same thing, but they're on a roller coaster. And it's even less plausible. Okay, the first Final Destination when it came out, I actually really liked this one. I thought this was a fairly decent premise. If you don't know, essentially there's a premonition about a plane crash, so the kid freaks out, whoa! Then your cardboard cutout characters, kind of get into a fight, and I'll kind of get thrown off the flight. That's just the flight first exploding. Now some people start dying. They do a news broadcast that shows, like, oh, here's electrical failure, and they show, like, the path of it. When you overlay that path onto where people were sitting, it's the path of how people are going to die. I mean, that's actually a pretty good premise for a movie. And with the first one, what they did was, there wasn't as much of, here is how someone's going to die. I mean, in 3, there are photos. And look at the photo, tells you how you're going to die. In 2, they use, there's a clue before everyone dies. In 1, there's not so much. In 1, the most over-the-top death is the teacher. Because, you have, a mug full of vodka, the mug breaking, vodka going down, getting a computer catching on fire, exploding, putting glass in the back of her head. The fire catching the pool of vodka. As she's trying to, get the fire off of her, there's a knife below the towel, pulling the towel down, drives the knife into her. As she's trying to flail around, a chair falls down and drives the knife into her chest. That is fairly over the top. It's the most over the top death in the movie. But all in all, it's a fairly solid movie. I would say it ranks into the good category. It's not awesome, it doesn't suck. It's good, and it's an okay movie. The sequel took into a little bit different of an account. The sequel, only survivor was Ali Larter. Everyone else pretty much is dead. And it begins with what most people refer to as the best car action sequence ever. People to this day still talk about, the initial accident car crash from Final Destination 2. It is an epic car crash. It is like the Rube Goldberg of epic car destructionness. Yes, I'm going to make up a word, destructionness. And with this one, essentially, again, it's the same thing. Someone has a premonition of a horrible accident, and then it's how do you go through the sequence of saving people's lives. You get better acting in the first one, and a little bit more diverse characterization than you got in the first one. And they threw in the idea of, if you save someone's life, you essentially become the next one on it. And the deaths are a lot more gruesome. My favorite one by far is this woman who gets involved in a car accident, and a piece of pipe goes to the back of her window, and it stops. And you're thinking, oh man, she survived. Airbag goes off. Puh. Done. Brown bread. Great. You're kind of like, oh. Because there are lots of near misses in the first one. This you're like, oh man, near miss. Okay, that wasn't near miss, but that was epic. The explosion that sends the barbed wire through a guy and just carves him up. You're like, oh, that's a bad way to go. Oh, that's so a bad way to go. Oh man, that would have to suck. And the second one actually is an improvement over the first one. You can watch the 2 back to back and they're pretty good. I would say stay away from 3. 3 is essentially just it's more gore, less story, acting is poor. And there's 4. 4 is the 3D. Here's a bunch of random stuff. If you want a more in-depth one, I have a Final Destination 4 review on the YouTube account. So, 1, 2, worth a see. 3, 4, you don't need to make any more.